here in the main house, we have a drunken native man who likes to come into the house. And by that, I mean a spirit, not just some random bird. And so this is that house. I haven't been here in 3 years because we were going to sell it and the people did not take it. So he would always come about like once or twice a month. And he was kind of mean and scary and angry. So I have that to look forward to. I have yet to interact or encounter him so far in these last 3 days. But I had crazy deja vu experience that just absolutely blew my mind. And I'd love to know if there's anyone out there who can maybe help me try to figure. My theory of what happened is like some interdimensional traveling of time traveling of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Because okay, so we have regular deja vu, which I haven't had that in quite a while, but I used to get it quite often. And there's a lot of theories on what deja vu is. It could be whatever you believe it is. I'm not sure. But this was something crazy. I had deja vu, or the day before, and it was so strong that I remembered. So I'm gonna throw a little get together for Halloween next weekend, just a few people. But something had happened, and I was sitting there, and it started off as just deja vu, but really, really strong. And I've been here before, I've done this, I remember this. But then it went into the future of this gathering. I'm wide awake. I was just having lunch, sitting there minding my business, and I saw this vision of next weekend. And then I remembered that I had had a dream, and that I'd woke up, and that I wanted to write down that dream to see if it came to fruition, if it was actually like a premonition or like a fast forward in time of some kind. And I didn't write it down, but it was like I had a memory of a dream of everything of what was happening in that moment, me eating lunch, to the conversation, and then into the future of next weekend. So it was just mind-boggling, just crazy. I have no idea. And it was so intense that it was like I've already been here before, I've already done that, and I've already had this vision before. I've seen how everything's going to happen for the next week, and this is it, and it was nuts.
Yeah, it is, and when it's that intense, I don't know, I think that's when you know it wasn't a dream, like you've actually been here before.
Yes. Yes, it was like I dreamt of the future, but I was sitting there in that future, remembering the dream moment, and also beyond that moment into the next week that hasn't happened yet. So if it's correct, if it's correct, then I know what's going to happen next weekend. So we shall see. I had a vision of people coming over in the hot tub, and if that happens, then I know for sure. I'm not going to openly say anything. I won't say that the hot tub even works or anything, and I will just see if that just ends up happening.
Yeah, so what's supposed to happen?
It was just a vision of a moment. It wasn't anything specific. It was just a group of people in the hot tub. Just very strange.
That is very strange.
Never experienced any kind of deja vu like that before in my life. Everyone has gotten deja vu, but it was so much stronger than that, to the point where it was not only feeling like you've been there before in the past, also seeing what's going to happen next. And my mind was blown. And I think it's probably because I'm opening up to all of these like quantum physics theories, because the world is opening up. And so occasionally I will hear or see something or try something, even just like telling basically trying to see if you can kind of shift your reality just with your thoughts, waking up in a new dimension and stuff like that. And it sounds crazy, but it's totally possible. It's more possible than impossible. And
Well,
so,
yeah, it's kind of like the Mandela effect or whatnot. Like,
yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. It's like the Mandela effect. Then, oh, and in addition to that, so then that night, so this was the day before last. So this would have been not last, uh, not last night, but the night before. I woke up, speaking of the Mandela effect, I woke up 2 mornings ago with a song in my head, and I was singing it, and it was like, you know how in the early 2000s there was a lot of the like, it was like when pop music and teen idol pop stars were really big, right? Like in the
teeny
90s and early
boppers.
2000s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hanson.
I'm gonna use Hillary Duff as an example, because so in my dream there was this pop star that would look, we'll say she was like Hillary Duff, looked like Hillary Duff, singing this song that got really, really, really popular back in that time period. And so it was a dream about this Hillary Duff type pop star back in the early 2000s, and one of those cheesy bubblegum pop songs, like it was so big back then. And I woke up singing the dream, singing the lyrics and singing the song, knowing exactly how it went. It was like it actually existed. But then, like, when I fully woke up, I'm like, that artist did not exist. That song did not exist. Right? But like, I woke up and it was like a memory from that time, but that it didn't actually happen. So it was like it was like a memory of that time, like the Mandela effect, only it didn't actually happen in this reality.
That's what they say. It's so freaking
Maybe
weird.
it did. Maybe it woke up in that reality. Maybe that, look up like blonde teen pop stars from the 2000s. And if that person actually exists and I didn't actually know about it in my last lifeline, life, lifeline, dimension, um, then maybe I jumped dimensions. Maybe that person does exist and I just don't remember them from my time. I know it's getting way out there, but it's been weird. It's been super weird.
Yeah, I think there's been a few shifts that I'm aware of.
People in the into spirituality and or sensitive people have been feeling a shift within like the last few days. And on Tuesday, we're going to have a new moon in Scorpio as well as the sun in Scorpio, which is like kind of scary. But intuitions could be on point. I think it depends on who you are, on whether or not it's going to be kind of intense, like really intense, honestly, for like the next couple of weeks, I feel, for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's already been intense. It's been
So, yeah,
crazy. There's so much crazy stuff happening.
what's going on with you and with your crazy
Well, I've just noticed recently,
experiences or stories?
just the dreams being so like realistic and so different. I don't know. Um,
Very random.
yeah, jumping around to different, not timelines, but people's lives, people I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then different people that are passing recently are, I don't know, very important, epic people and it just seems like something is about to happen, and maybe uh, these time shifts or whatever to prepare certain ones of us for that. I don't know. I know I'm going to be here for the end of times, so um, I don't know. It really trips me out. I'm scared, but at the same time, I'm like, bring it on, bring it.
You mean like the end?
Not like the world, but the world as we know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I think shifts are always possible, though. So it's like, will we really be there for the end? In the world, like just within years, the amount of things that have changed in our reality, and the way that I think a lot of the structures here on this planet have not been working for a very long time. So now it is big change is inevitable.
Yeah, definitely. The weather's crazy. People's crazy. I'm crazy. I don't know. It's just so off kilter, so weird. Like the waking and the real and the dream, and I don't know. I don't even know what to think. But yeah, so there's been an upsweep in the paranormal and spiritual realm as well. I don't know. A lot of UFO sightings or UAPs or AUPs or whatever they're calling them these days. USOs, those are pretty active. So many sightings in this area. You and I saw like a mothership on your property. We're going to go ghost hunting and we see a freaking mothership. It was insane.
Uh, That was the first time I've ever seen one that was like a metallic. Like it was metallic, changed colors and light color.
It was like phosphorescent colors.
Yeah, but the craft itself was um a metallic one rather than like it was close enough to see like what it looked like the actual. It was metallic and it was like the ones that your atypical kind of looking craft. Um, when in the past I've just seen like light formations in the sky. Rather than
Yeah.
actual.
Well, that one time we were sitting there after working and that one Tic Tac one just floated by, and then we saw two of the same ones over here at our house. The kids, Lily actually spotted it. There was one, then there was two, and they were just like this, I don't know, like white color, and whatever the sun for the sunset and everything was refracting, it was basically that color. Um, but yeah, one blinked out, and then this jet came flying by, and the other one blinked out and then blinked back in. But yeah, we saw one of those Tic Tacs at your place. I think I got some video of it. But it's so like far away, it's hard to really see it unless you know what you're looking for.
Mhm. Right when we happen to be out there, because I never see anything out there. But then when you were there, we saw it together when we were looking for ghost hunting. It's very fascinating. There's a lot of see a lot of things here in the desert in the sky. I haven't. It's very cloudy right now. I don't think I can see much, but I have to go out there and check it out periodically.
Yeah, I think on Friday, it was either Friday or Saturday night, the Perseids or shooting stars were supposed to be pretty active. But I didn't go out there. It was too cold.
There's supposed to be a meteor day, like late in the evenings here, visible. I didn't see it. Like 3 a.m. maybe like 2 days ago. Weird dreams, I think.
I'm trying to let's see what exactly is going to happen with this music break, because since they can't hear you unless I feed you through my headphones, maybe I have to set up my cell phone for the music break, because otherwise they're going to be sitting there quite some time without any sound.
Oh no.
So, yes, indeed. Jeff says everything's sounding nice, so that's good.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Success.
Success. We actually did it.
So what other kind of sightings have there been recently? I haven't kept that.
Like, I don't know, a lot of fleets. Not just individual ones, but like formations and such. I don't know. Have you seen the weird, like, skyworm looking one? Not like in real life,
Yes.
but on videos and stuff. That's insane.
Yes, I've seen that. I've always wondered about that. Um, there, I think I may have seen one in. No, I don't think I've seen one in real life, but I've seen quite a few videos, and it's totally weird. It's like, what could it be? It's like a dark worm. It's like wiggling around in the sky.
Yeah, I've seen that one, and then there's one that looks like cloud-like material, like it's white. And it's just like moving around in these different weird like formations. But I've seen the black one too. The black one I think is faster than that white one.
I haven't seen the white one. I'll have to look at the videos. I know few things has been seen in like the southwestern United States and Mexico, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, like the Colombian and Brazilian area.
Yeah, South America, Central America.
Yeah.
To know what the theories are on that, I may just do a little search and see what people in the location where it's seen think about what it looks like.
Yeah, definitely. And while you're doing that, let's go to our first music break. So on this break, we have Michaelan Hain from Canada with Devil You Know, Collapse, Close, and Nothing But Blood. And then we have Mr. Fred Johnson III with Sugar. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break. Okay. So people on the radio station are
rushing towards fields painted greener. It doesn't see the demons behind, praying you're getting close to the line, so they can get their hands on love and trade it off for silver. The curtain's nice, but what it hides is worse than sticks and stones. Before you climb the fence tonight, look through the microscope. Better the devil you know. 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 Your nervous spine is crawling with shivers. You're standing right in the eye of a blizzard. so surprised I worked out a smile, out a smile, out a smile. 'Cause I've grown and I've changed. Yeah, we went separate ways. How come we're both back here? 'Cause you pushed me away, had my life rearranged, but still we're both back here. Back here. Close to me, I want you close to me. I can see that you wanted me. Follow me, baby, just follow me. Trust me, baby, get close to me. You know how to make me lose all control, all control. I should know when I need to let myself go. So let's go. Close to me, I want you close to me. I can see that you wanted me. Follow me, baby, just follow me. Trust me, baby, get close to me. I'm not the same. I'm not the same. I'm not the same person anymore. I'm not the same. I'm not the same. I'm not the same. I want you close to me. I want you close to me. I can see that you wanted me. Follow me, baby, just follow me. Trust me, baby, get close to me. I want you close to me. I can see that you wanted me. Follow me, baby, just follow me. Trust me, baby, get close to me. There's too much sky, too blue, too white. The birds on the wire are singing, but I don't know why. Why aren't the roses hanging their heads? They're standing straight up, blooming instead. Now that we're apart, there's nothing but blood in my heart. Why does that guy have a smile on his face? Why is the sun even shining today? Why are the headlines talking about love? Don't they all know what happened to us? Now that we're apart, there's nothing but blood in my heart. The moon goes up, the sun goes down, the stars light up, the world goes round. Every day, life moves on, it don't stop for anyone. The moon goes up, the sun goes down, there's nothing. Now that we're apart, there's nothing but blood in my heart. Blood in my heart. Blood in my heart.
Waiting here on this cold, lonely night without you. The tension's overbearing. Wondering, are you coming back home again? To inspire fondness with love. Where did our love go wrong? My sugar. Why did I make you cry? Whispers flow through my mind when I think about you. That warm feeling in me. My heart sings a sad song and just melts away. Please look into my eyes, my sugar. There's life in out there. Until the sun doesn't shine anymore, I'll be there. When time is a memory, I'll know this love. You will always be the one, my sugar. The feeling is so strong. Waiting here on this cold, lonely night without you. Where did our love go wrong, my sugar?
Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. And we're having Halloween Marathon on eTalk Radio. Pretty exciting stuff, if I do say so myself. Mia, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
For
I'm
sure.
tired.
Huh?
But we're good. We're gonna bring the energy up now.
Yeah, we're gonna pump it up. Pump it up. I don't know, that was a pretty relaxing music break, though.
It was. Indeed.
So what'd you find out on these space worms?
You know, I didn't find much like what people think that they are, other than, the typical one said like an air balloon or something. I'm like, no, I don't think so, but I can keep digging. I can keep digging here.
Yeah, it was I don't know, it was the weirdest thing. I have no idea what it is. And then I saw one recently on there where it's like these space squids or something like that, like just swimming around in the air. That was freaky as all hell. It's like, what the heck is going on? Like, UFOs, that's one thing, but what are these space entities?
Celestial. Yep. Celestial. Yes. These space entities. I wonder if, like, I don't know, like dragons back in the day could have been like UFOs if people saw them like ancient times.
Yeah.
Or maybe some of them are like creatures like that we just like extinct or something, or from a different planet. I'm not sure. They're living organisms.
Oh, snap.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, from what I heard, NASA actually started discovering the ocean. Like, they used to dive and do all this other stuff, and then for some apparent reason that scared the shit out of them, and they decided, let's go to space and find some other place to live. It's like, what the hell is down there? What's under there that you're so freaked out about?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm trying to see if I can find that recording of the ghost thing. That would be very interesting. If I could find it. Let's see.
So, Gigi's over here. He's like, hey, I can still come on. Gigi, that was last weekend, but we can still have you call in if you want.
Yeah,
If you want to. We need to mix it up a little.
we do. We do. I'm trying to be awake, but I have been, and it's been really cloudy all day. So in addition to not sleeping very well, it's just been like I've been very sluggish all day. I would like to do something about it, but it's it is what it is.
Indeed. So I'm trying to see how to add him over here. What? Where the crap? There is. Oh, there he is. It's got a little Jeej in the mix.
Oh.
Hell. Oh. Greetings. How's it going?
Oh, just awful.
Aw.
I'm just kidding. Everything's fantastic. It's been a great weekend here on Utah TV. Hold on, my cat is trying to take over the world.
Producer Mayor.
She did not like leaving my lap. She's still scratching me.
It's going. We're just hanging out over here.
Is that a wig or did you?
Oh, it's it's the hood on my witch dress.
Yeah, nice and hot. I mean, your whole background's kind of Halloweeny anyway.
Halloweeny. Halloweener.
He said weenie.
He did. He just said weenie.
I said weenie.
Hilarious.
You know, sometimes somebody's got to say it.
Definitely.
It must be said.
And it has been spoken.
There you go. And so who is it? thought it said Maya, but now it says Mia.
Mia.
Is this this?
It's Mia.
Oh, Mia. Okay, so I don't know you, do I?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Nice to
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So, so you got what?
I love that background. Both of
Yes.
you are very Halloweeny.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's my background all year. That's
I
my.
think that's Tessa's background all year.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing.
Stranger Things, Jason
That's
Mask. I love it.
What do you call it? Like your pseudonym, like a character that you write or produce stuff under. You don't want people to know it's you. That's my pseudonym character for a lot of the music and stuff I've done. Actually, what my name?
Kind of have one as well for my music, but I don't have any cool pictures of it.
Well, that's awesome. You guys are both musicians.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know Gigi did music.
Yeah, that's shit. Yeah, I lived in Hollywood for several years, working for some of the coolest bands in the world, Queens of the Stone Age, Death Metal, and that whole camp. Also, Thomas Pridgeon from Mars Volta. It's his drum tech for a little bit.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh, they're the best. They're the best. And you know
Just
what?
puts me in a good mood.
I'm gonna pull up a. So I posted this on Twitter the other. So we actually use a lot of their music on our show. So it's kind of like Queens of the Stone Age is a common topic, I guess you could say, when it comes to like just talking with people on Twitter or whatever. Like the music comes up a lot, and so I posted this quote, trying to find it right. Oh, I know exactly where to find it. And here it is. So Josh Homme, who is the guy that he's the Queens of the Stone Age boss, I guess you could say. So, and by the way, this is an interview question that was on the spot. This wasn't premeditated or anything. This guy just asked him, why call your band Queens of the Stone Age and not Kings? And then Josh's answer was, well, Kings would be too macho. The Stone Age would wear armor and have axes and wrestle, while the Queens of the Stone Age hang out with the Kings of the Stone Age's girlfriends while they're wrestling.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Such a great answer, especially for like top of your head and shit.
That's some quick reaction, quick response that I don't have today.
No.
Yeah.
I know. I said to Vern, I think it was yesterday, or maybe it was the day before. My reflexes are quick, like a steel trap that's already closed and kind of rusted over. That's how quick I am these days.
I actually just so happen to be wearing their
Nice.
Synchronicities. I used to love the song Smooth Sailing. That was kind of like my theme song. The music video is really fun too. I feel like it has like a lot of, for me, that's like a good manifesting kind of song.
Especially that breakdown towards the end.
Yes. Yes.
Hell yeah. But, you know what?
It's a very fun video.
It is. Yeah, the video is fun too. Yeah, that's what you said. And hopefully, I hope you knew about them before that record, though. Did you?
Of course I did. Yes. Yes. The one, I remember I had it as the CD. I can't remember the name of it, but it was red and it had like a little sperm looking thing on it.
Yeah. With Dave Grohl actually drummed on that record.
Very cool. I just learned something. That's amazing.
Every day. I just learned that Mediterranean food is
That is true. Very good.
Which actually asked him. I was like, I know all of us Americans call it gyro, but how do you pronounce it? He actually said it with.
It's actually pronounced euro. It's euro. Like the just.
Like, is it gyro? Is it euro? But he was like, no, we call it Zyro. I've never heard that before.
Gyro.
So maybe it was Zyro. Or Zyro. It starts with a Z. Yeah. I don't care what it's called. You got the land, you got the beef.
I would have never guessed that.
I don't know what the hell is in that white sauce, but damn, that shit is dank too.
Yes, that is tzatziki sauce. I actually used to work for years at a Persian restaurant, but they had a lot of like Greek food, kind of like Lebanese style, same stuff. They had whatever the gyros are, gyros. Yeah, it's really good. It's like a yogurt cucumber sauce with like parsley,
Like, do they
garlic, and
yeah. Yeah.
it's funny. I have a bunch of like Italian friends, and I heard it's really funny because Americans we say espresso, right? But if you think about it, it's not the vowel. It's espresso.
Right. Yeah.
So where did the X come from? That's what I want to know.
Just from us.
So
Sure, that's where it came.
yeah, we really are undereducated.
I think it came from Texas.
Probably.
Which I am a Texan, so I'm allowed to make fun of it.
I see.
How long have you been texting it up?
Most of my adult life, I ran away. I was in California, Arizona, California, Arizona, California again.
Arizona has pretty terrible GPAs though, like for pretty terrible education system.
That would
Pretty
make-
low.
That would make sense because they have terrible driving.
Yeah, that
Like,
too.
LA has traffic. At least everybody kind of knows what they're doing. But Arizona, less traffic, shittier drivers. 100%.
I agree. It does depend on where you are in Arizona though too.
Yeah, I'm talking more about like Phoenix.
Sounds not so bad.
Uh,
Yeah, definitely.
okay.
It's a mix.
It comes night. Nighttime in Sedona. You might as well have a blindfold on when you cross the street. You might get hit anyway. So. But anyway, I hate to just bust into your trying to listen in before the end of the hour, and I couldn't hear. I'm not sure if I get really bad reception down the street. There's about 20 minutes here, ain't back home. It's fun.
Huh.
I messed like that. Up down, yeah. But then I saw right away. Oh, you got right.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad that's working. But yeah, I have a sound problem with my butt, so I need to figure that out after this show and try to get everything to pick up and not just my mic. Because that's kind of where I'm feeding everything through right now, so this can work. It's weird.
Butt broadcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, actually, I used to use that. I switched to a whole different boogie going on between 2 computers and 3 audio devices. which is probably unnecessary. It works. If you paid me $1 million to set this up again, I'd be able to do it. I don't even know how.
I know, that's why I'm afraid to touch buttons, because once I do that, like, it's the whole thing's fucked up. So I'm just like, I don't know.
You know what I do is I actually take video footage. I record myself hooking everything up,
Uh-huh.
then save those on a hard drive. And anytime I have to rehook it up, I just pull the video. Like, oh shit, that's how I do it.
That's a good idea.
Kind of hard to. So. But anyway, so what were you guys? I don't mean to like change the whole conversation. I mean, what were you guys getting into before the last break? And
Deja vu, right? And Mandela effects and different things like that.
are you allowed to do it?
It's legal here. I don't know about in Texas.
Good. Well, I live in the one part of Texas, so
The one part of Texas, what?
it doesn't care.
Oh.
In Austin, you can have up to. You live?
That's what I was going to say.
Where you live?
I'm so grateful.
I think you cut out there a bit. Said you live where?
Did we lose
And
her?
there,
Oh, there she is.
yes, the middle of the desert,
Oh, sick. Oh, I love. Well, which?
Arizona.
Oh, that's right. You kind of alluded to that. Yeah.
And Colorado, depending.
He's a snowbird.
I'll tell you what, man. There's something magical about the desert, especially if you go like where you're at in Arizona. If you go about 4 to 6 hours west and land yourself in Joshua Tree, my friend. Straight there is a frequency going on there that permeates you that you just don't find it. The only other place I've felt anything like that was Sedona. And only in
Sedona has weird vibes there, honestly.
well, the vibe
It
has
has good vibes.
weirdos, so you're feeling all the weirdo vibes.
Weirdos.
But the vibe that's weirdo.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because you can find some wholesome people there. I know a couple of wholesome people that live there. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. There's a little bit of a. It's almost like Sedona got injected with some Hollywood juice, and it got a little.
Got saturated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Joshua Tree is still so pure. Like nobody lives out there, and it's so hot. Like there's no reason to be out there unless it's the contact in the desert used to take place there up until 2018.
Oh.
And that was my favorite. But and plus, actually, once again, Queens of the Stone Age is from Joshua Tree. It just so happens, but that is
Ironic.
there's something about it. Like your cell phone doesn't work, and you're just out. Like there's never a better view of the stars unless you're at like in a like as far as like being on the ground and looking at the stars, god damn, you see way more. That is
Wow. I'll have to check it out.
yeah, dude. If you're ever driving to Los Angeles from anywhere, just take that extra hour up and go there, and then the extra hour down to get back on I-10. Dude, it's worth. And if you do, go to the junction, go to Pappy, a ribeye. It's
What is it? I'm sorry.
called Happy and Harriet. Actually featured it on what's his name? Anthony Bourdain did a whole episode about Joshua Tree, and I've been so many times. I've tried every place that they went to on that show, and for sure the best one is Happy and Harriet's. It's an old school biker bar with a little bit left. But man, if you're into steaks and live music, there's really no other place for bands to play in that area. So that's where they all play. And then the ribeye is magnificent and just really good. And ironically, they're macaroni and cheese. I know who the hell orders mac and cheese with a steak. I get it, but let me tell you, I don't know what you could possibly do to macaroni to make it so good. My lord, they figured it out. They nailed it. They something, some ancient alien butter or something. I don't know. It's dank. It's
Dang.
it's some biggest band that you've
Very cool.
play there, and fantastic place.
Do bands even still play? I miss the good old days when there was just a good local band
Yeah,
playing
there's
everywhere.
probably fewer, well, no matter where you are, whatever
Uh-huh.
means to you. There are probably, just the way the music industry, the business side of it has just completely, uh, those words aren't appropriate to say. It's just not the same anymore. And the only real way to make money, because it used to be, you get a record deal, right? Once you got a record deal, you had. But now, it doesn't, records don't make any money. So it doesn't matter if you're on a record label. It's all about, literally DIY, do it yourself, and just word of mouth. And it's become more organic again. There's not this whole corporate structure behind it anymore. I mean, there still is, and some bands still do that were there 20 years ago. That's the only reason, is because they were there before it closed, before they stopped functioning properly. But man, where I live, if you come to Austin, go down 6th Street and just walk up and down the right side and walk up and down the left side, and you will hear all kinds of amazing, original, very fantastic bands that are playing here. And
Yes,
it's all kind of.
I've heard that. I actually really want to go to Austin. We used to have a very strong music scene here in Arizona, though. I missed those days. That was nice.
There was a great band that we opened up for several times from right there. They were called the King Chiefs. You ever heard that band?
Mm-hmm.
They're from.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great band. Super fun to hang out with. And, one of the most original, bands I've heard in a long time. And
Sounds familiar. I can't remember, though. That's probably back in my memory banks. I knew a lot of the, harder kind of metal, I don't know, screamo type bands, that type of deal.
yeah, King Chiefs is more deserty, heavy.
Yeah.
Desert, yeah, not quite screamo. But ironically enough, I actually ran into. So 3 years later, after I opened up for that band, I run into the drummer, King Chiefs, at Contact in the Desert in Joshua Tree.
Weird. This is getting crazy.
Centering around Joshua Tree.
Yeah, there's something magic including I just told this whole story on somebody's show the other day, and about this object I found buried in the sand, just a little tip of a turquoise crystal hanging out of the ground. Took us like a good 10 minutes to dig this thing out. Somebody really buried that thing. And well, I'm already into the story. I guess, long story short, every time that object is anywhere in my apartment since that day, it forces me into astral traveling.
Wow.
And it took me a long time to figure it out. I was like, because I got home and
That's awesome.
every time I tried to go to sleep, I would start after, which I had never done before. And at the time, I didn't know what was happening because I didn't know about, wasn't familiar with astral traveling. But now, looking back, I understand, like, oh, that's what that was. And I've had a lot of people, since I've told that story on multiple shows, I've had a lot of people message me after those shows, like, hey, you're talking about astral traveling. So let's just assume all those people are right. Every time I had that object next to me, or anywhere near me, I would astral travel before I could fall asleep. And I had to get rid of it. So I literally bought a storage unit just to keep that object in there so that it wasn't at my house. And, or my apartment rather. And, yeah, I've moved a couple places, a couple of times. I keep a couple more things.
What was the object?
Can you see me right now?
Yes.
Because a visual would help. So imagine like a slingshot kind of shape, like a V at the top, but just a stick at the bottom. You know, like a little slingshot device. But it was wrapped in this interesting, a very magnificent version of string. I've never quite seen that type of green before. It was wrapped all the way around the handle of this slingshot-looking thing, and then at the bottom of the stick was a string with a bunch of little pieces of turquoise crystal in a row, and it was all very surprisingly symmetric. Very surprisingly, because it looked like it was handmade initially. Then you look at it, it's like, well, wait a minute, this is some goddamn good handwork, because this shit is completely symmetrical. Like, and I don't know. And so that was back in 2015. And like I said, for the last 7 years, there have been a couple times I've brought it home just to try astral traveling, and I always get freaked out. Like, once you start actually, like take off, like, I kind of get freaked out, and I would snap out of it. So I haven't really, first time we actually went somewhere, and that is a whole creep. But, so yeah.
Trying to figure out what this could be, like what it actually is, because I think I've seen one of those before. That sounds like very familiar. Do you know if it was like native?
It looks very native-y, honestly. It does.
Native-y. Yeah, no, I've seen that before, but I can't think of what it. I want to know what it is and what its actual purpose is. We're going on an investigation.
It's like a key to a portal.
I would love to know anything about this object, because it's the only object that's ever had any sort of weird properties to it, much less these properties that I speak of. Yeah, very interesting. And it was a group of 3 of us that found it. They could tell you too. Like, yeah, we saw, like, it was buried upside down in the sand with the tiniest bit of crystal sticking up out of the ground. Like, obviously nobody noticed it because it was in the middle of the contact in the desert parking lot. The cars all around.
Damn.
Nobody noticed it. And
it could be a weapon.
but mushrooms at the time when I saw it. Maybe my sin.
Good Lord.
I just voted for mushrooms.
That's when I saw it. But yeah, vote for mushrooms. Oregon just legalized shrooms.
I'm like a mushroom connoisseur. I've gotten more and more into them. I found a species in my yard in Colorado. One day I went looking for mushrooms. It was very rainy here, as you know, Tess, over the summer and fall. And so on the ranch, I found one day, 3 different types of mushrooms. One of them had this black ink substance that came out of it, and then I have pictures of. There was another one that was kind of like I don't know, kind of like a tulip-shaped mushroom. And then there was another one that was just really big and cool. But I found out last year, I've always been interested in them. Last year, I found a species in our yard. I forget what the Latin name is, but they're...
Hello?
The little ribbed underbelly is dark and one is light. But other than that, they look like the same type of mushroom. So the mower's mushroom, if you go, there's so little about certain types of mushrooms online. I mean, we probably have a million undiscovered species, but this particular one has 5-HTP and serotonin in it. And as soon as I was very, 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 very sure that that's what species it was, I dried them and I ate them. And the weird thing is they say that they're not toxic, but not edible. And some will say they are toxic because they also list anything with psilocybin in them to be toxic. But it never says if they have any hallucinogenic properties, if they have any psilocybin in them. Some say yes, some say no. And so I was curious because they for sure have 5-HTP and serotonin in them. So I ate them the first time, and just a small amount, and I didn't feel anything. But I swear to you, the next 3 days I was on a happy high because of the serotonin and the 5-HTP. I found God's natural antidepressant, and I don't think there's psilocybin in there. If there is, it's very little. They did nothing to me, no side effects, but I was taking small amounts. And so this year I was hunting everywhere for them, but they like freshly cut grass, and they have serotonin in them. They're literally antidepressants.
Nice.
And the next few days, it was like the happiest I've been since I was like a child. Like I've never been that happy. Normally for like 3 days. And I just ate like 1 or 2 of them. It was insane. So I think they're kind of magical. Like the ancient Egyptians used to call them the plant of immortality.
Sweet.
And so what else is cool about them? They also, so they are closer to humans biologically. They are closer to humans than they are to plants, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that's a fact, Jack. Right there.
Crazy mushroom lady over here. I couldn't vote because I'm not registered in Colorado, or I would have. I did read about that months ago, but unfortunately.
Well, they haven't legalized it here, but they've decriminalized it.
Well,
Yeah.
isn't it? I thought it was just Denver that legalized it, whereas the rest of the state is still on the fence. Am I wrong about that?
I think so too. No, I think that's correct. No, they legalized them in Denver. I'm 85% sure that they just like in Oregon, like they legalized them in a city. I don't know which one, probably Portland, I'm assuming, maybe not. But they decriminalized mushrooms and a lot of other substances in the state of Colorado because they're ahead of the game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. There's Like, for example, I feel like if you're gonna run for any sort of, or ever intend to be any sort of politician or senator or governor or mayor or president or anything like that, you should be forced to trip on mushrooms before you even run. And then probably once again in the middle, and then you win or lose, take another dose. And then, if you do win, whoever your colleagues become, you all have to trip together. Because in that case, you're all going to be on the same page. If somebody's not on the same page, like it'll just. I know that sounds like just a bunch of hippie talk, but I'm telling you, this world would be, especially if the UN meetings start off with a little dose of pure MDMA and then a little bit of shrooms sprinkled on top. No more wars.
Yeah.
No more wars. Everything's settled. That's it.
What would be really interesting is if you had both candidates before they give their little speeches or their debates. Both sides, they both have to ingest psilocybin mushrooms, and then we can see who the real winner is, because they will bare their soul, and that would just be entertainment. I think more people would vote as well.
Yes. With more, my friend. I agree more. That would be a law. Man, it's too bad nobody asked me to be president, because that's exactly what I would implement.
Hey, we're the future. I think our whole foundation of everything is breaking down. Our education systems, our monetary friggin' systems, everything is kind of crumbling.
Yeah.
Everyone is kind of waking up to the fact that but it's a big question mark. Like, if there's going to be so many changes, there already has been. Like, the fact that they legalized marijuana in the first place here, and not only that, now almost all of the states, it's legal in almost every state now.
Plus,
it's very many of them.
It's also legal now too. If there's one good thing or anything that Biden did was he just did that a couple weeks ago. He just decided to pardon every single person. And by he, I mean his administration. He probably had the time eating cereal toast crunch in the morning.
Totally.
But his administration has pardoned everybody federally. And I read, and on their list, they're like, hey, nobody deserves tribulation or prison or smoking marijuana. But all they can do.
It's kind of like, duh. I mean, even people who are not pro marijuana or pro substances, even who aren't completely for it, can agree that being imprisoned for a plant is dumb. Especially a plant that doesn't kill people.
Right.
You would,
in small quantities.
There's definitely a lot of, people that personally just, they don't have a good experience with pot, but they still understand, like, that's crazy. You're locking people in a cage for fucking around with a plant.
Plant that doesn't kill people. There are certain things that come from the ground and from the earth, like alcohol, that can really hurt people. Depending on the circumstance. But if you have a couple of nuggets of marijuana on you just a few years ago, I mean, I've seen people, their whole lives were ruined over something so small and so dumb.
Yeah, it's so small, it's so dumb, and in fact, it's the opposite. It's like, dude, if everybody, this might be a controversial statement, but I believe if everybody on the freeway was stoned, you would never see road rage. Never. There'd be no road rage. Everybody's too chill. They're listening to Led Zeppelin in the car, smoking a cig, having a good time. They don't give a shit about the traffic. It's only the guy that's all coked up that's getting out of the car, banging on front of him. Hey, you sir, fuck you. Nobody on weed does that.
Nope. You don't get stoned and go home and beat your wife. It's just doesn't work.
But we were allowed to last night, so probably allowed to here, right?
I believe so.
We'll keep it small.
Yeah.
Keep it small. Keep it limited, rather. But I did want to bring up deja vus. So what I'm going to ask, because I have my own sort of, I guess you'd call it an opinion on deja vus.
Theory.
More of a theory, really. What do you two think deja vus are? Like, what do you think causes them, and what do you think the experience actually is, and what it means? Or does it mean anything?
I don't know. I always get worried when it happens because I'm like, okay, what's about to happen next? But I don't know. It's like you've already been there before. Is that through time travel, or is that like some sort of yeah? I always think something bad's going to happen when I have it. But that's not always the case. It's like you said, it could be just nothing. But it's pretty mind bending when it does happen.
That's kind of how I feel sometimes too. I understand that.
I've never had a negative. I mean, initially when it starts happening, obviously you feel a little bit thrown off. So your defenses kind of naturally come to play for a second there. But once you get past that, it's pretty intense. Usually deja vus only last like what? What would you say? Like 5, 10, maybe 20 seconds?
Yeah, just a fraction of time.
Yeah. Well, I've had two that one of them lasted about a minute and a half, and the other one lasted for about 7 minutes. And I'm talking about that I knew what was going to happen around me. So I was at a skate park, and to make this more relative, I was already like done skating. I was all worn out, and then this deja vu kicks in. And I was like, "Holy shit! I know what trick he's about to try." And sure enough, he tried that trick. Like, holy shit! I know what that dude's about to try. And I had this crazy euphoria feeling on top of it. And for 7 minutes, every single person's trick that they tried, I called before. In the last like 3.5 minutes, my buddy Zach was with me. I was like, "Dude, watch this. I bet they're going to try that." They try it. Hey, watch this. I bet they're going to try that. And like I was in deja vu control for 5 to 7 minutes, and I don't really know what that is. I don't know what that is. It's something. I don't think it's nothing.
So, I used to, when I was a kid, have dreams about people that I haven't met. You know those dreams where you're in an unfamiliar room, you're around people that you don't know, like you're almost living like a different life, a different reality in your dreams, kind of?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had dreams about people in real life, people right before I met them. Like when I would apply for jobs, I had times where I actually went into the workspace, met all the employees, read the energy of the room before I even went in for the interview. And I eventually passed up to some jobs because of that. I had a friend of mine that when I was like 13, 14, I was 14 years old, and I had this dream that particular, I hadn't met this person yet, He ended up being like living maybe a block away from me. But I had a dream about him before I met him. But that particular time, I wrote it down in my journal because I started to notice this pattern of meeting people. I did this recently, actually, before I went to Burning Man. I dreamt about one of the people in our group before even knowing of their existence. And so, circling back, I was telling Tess and everybody about my crazy, crazy deja vu thing that just happened 2 days ago. And I did get that feeling, though, like something crazy or something big is about to happen, just in general. But the deja vu itself was me eating noodles. How long it lasted, right? Sitting here eating these noodles, having this conversation, and I'm like, oh, it's deja vu. But then it's like I got this flash of next weekend. This is 3 days ago. So, is this going to happen or not? I saw not only the deja vu where I was at, so for the future that has still to happen. And it like blew my mind because I feel like I had a dream about all of it, like who knows how long ago, and probably woke up in the middle of the night. I need to start writing this stuff down. So I almost feel like deja vu can be like something to do with shifting quantum timelines, dimensions, quantum shifting, or it can be literal premonitions that we have, possibly, like the 90% of dreams that we don't remember. Maybe it's all like, I don't know if it's, or it could be like a hole in time, which is like similar to like, or it could be our higher selves warning us about something big that's going to happen, because I got that feeling and it was so intense. I've never had deja vu. I didn't time it, but it was the strongest, longest, craziest deja vu. I don't know. It was very intense. So we'll see next weekend. This weekend, because it's Sunday.
What's gonna happen?
Let me ask you a question. I guess. Do we need to?
Yeah, we can do a music break really quick. I just didn't want to interrupt the flow.
I'll remember exactly where I left off.
Alrighty.
But it's about break time, right?
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's going to be different on this one. Like, we can't really gab on break, or I guess we can. But yeah, it's open mic for the music and everything until I get this sound thing figured out. But we got Michaelan Hay from Ontario, Canada with Gravity, Mirror, Pins and Needles, and Fred Johnston III from Canyon County, California with After Dark. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break. And there's a delay too. Alright, so it's about a 15-minute break. Probably last less than that. Noise. Ceasing.
I dove right in. Didn't bring a parachute. Fell right through. Hit the water hard. Moving too fast. Spiraling out of control. Was touch and go. Went a little far. You taught me how to turn a blind eye. I showed you how to keep your shoulder cold. No one walked away without a scar. I've been digging through the pieces. Your heart is out of reach, but objects may seem nearer through this rippled mirror. I've been digging through the pieces. Your heart is out of reach, but objects may seem nearer through this rippled mirror. Showed you how to try to erase the ink that's left upon my chest. I'll attest. I don't really wanna forget to forget. You taught me how to turn a blind eye. I showed you how to keep your shoulder cold. No one walked away without a scar. I've been digging through the pieces. Your heart is out of reach, but objects may seem nearer through this rippled mirror. I've been digging through the pieces. Your heart is out of reach, but objects may seem nearer through this rippled mirror. You taught me how to turn a blind eye. I showed you how to keep a shoulder cold. No one walked away without a scar. I've been digging through the pieces. Your heart is out of reach, but objects may seem nearer through this rippled mirror. I've been digging through the pieces. Your heart is out of reach, but objects may seem nearer through this rippled mirror.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. We are on so many different places, but tonight specifically, we're doing the Halloween Spooktacular on We Talk Radio. It's a marathon. I've heard it's going very well all day. Yeah, until you hit here, then that's when the shit hits the fan. I'm joined by Gigi, as well as Miss Mea Savage. Welcome back, guys, and thanks so much for hanging.
Having us.
For sure. So you said you're going to remember where you left off before we went to break there.
Yeah, so we were talking about deja vus. And so one interesting. Do either of you guys know who Dr. Richard Allen Miller is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, I think there's probably at least a few people in the audience that do. We have him on our show all the time. And, it's been on every show. There's been history, discovery. Yeah, anyway, he's basically a quantum physicist that used to work for Navy Intel to specifically train the Marines in how to control their mind and consciousnesses in the most terrible weather conditions or like very suffocating conditions. Some of the training of which probably is kind of left undiscussed. Point is, this dude knows what's up, and he claims that they discovered over at MRU that a deja vu is actually. I'm sure everybody here has a little bit of an idea. If you've never done it before, one, I feel bad for, and then for two, you've probably heard about it and heard some stories, which is this chemical dimethyltryptamine, in other words, DMT. And turns out just about every plant life and form of animal life on this planet has DMT. They produce it naturally in their systems. We are one of those animals, us humans, and it's been even going back. If you look at like Egyptian texts and some of the hieroglyphs and the walls, they actually talk about the third eye, which is where if you actually look into the history of the third eye, that's a whole other thing. Maybe we'll get there later. Point is that his whole team's understanding after this was that
Just letting you know.
Welcome back.
Deja vu is actually a drip of DMT that goes down your spinal cord.
Huh.
And that is what starts the deja vu experience. Which is, I mean, it makes sense on paper a little bit, but there could be some wiggle room there. But also, if you've actually done DMT, it makes even more sense. I don't know how else to.
It makes you what?
It puts it into more of a perspective of that. It makes it like it makes more sense. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that probably is what's happening. You know, once you've experienced DMT externally, I guess we could say. Hopefully legally and safely.
Right.
Either way, powerful stuff, and it's really interesting because, yeah, one, I'm not gonna myself, yeah, but so yeah, I just thought that was an interesting theory about deja vu, that it might actually be a reaction from the release of DMT from the pineal gland down the spine. That maybe. Here's the thing, though. It doesn't explain what the experience is. It just explains what connects you to that experience, or like what kicks it off, basically. Does that make? I hope that's the best I can explain. Does that make sense?
Definitely, because the pineal gland is it's connected as the third eye to intuition, psychic abilities, all of those things. And that's where we naturally store it. Tea is just the same, only coming from a plant or another source. I mean, that would make sense. So why did that happen to me 2 days ago? What caused the drip, if you will?
Yeah, that's a whole nother preface to the whole situation, is what caused that, right? I've honestly never heard a good answer for that. I don't know. Have you, Tessa?
No, and I actually got to try that not this summer, but I think right before last summer. I don't know, right before my sister went to jail. But she introduced me to it, and we were out in the tree fort, and I have these like cool pine cone shaped lights that were plugged in, and we're just out there, and we had tried it, and I don't know, the pine cone lights turned into hearts, and then my kitchen window looked like some sort of distant doorway that was like backlit. And my sister looked like an Avatar princess. It was insane. She was so pretty. But yeah, as soon as it started, I was like, okay, so I don't like to be out of control with stuff, so I don't know. I'm just like, when is this supposed to end? And it's really short, a really short thing that happens. But it was super cool.
Yeah, it's a quick. Uh, They last like 8 or 10 minutes. Maybe 15 if you manage to sneak that third hit in there while you're still on this side. You might be able to extend it a bit, but and blast off a little harder. But yeah, so it sounds like you only did it that once. Huh?
No, I did it a few times, but my sister, like, she was smoking it constantly. I was like, I couldn't do that, but yeah, I tried it a few times. It was interesting. But that was the most interesting time that I did it, like, as far as visual effects and such. But otherwise it was just like you said, like an awareness or an awakening, or like different answers were given to certain things. I don't know, it's pretty interesting.
I think sound like some kind of dull here, but as someone who has smoked DMT probably over more times than should be admitted. We're talking like 3 digits. It sounds, based on your description, it sounds like because you're describing things that were around you that just either seemed or felt or appeared, and you saw them in a different light, basically, but you were still there.
Yeah.
When you see, because here's the problem: a lot of street DMT is like very, like, for lack of a better term, watered down, and so here's the thing: when you like smoke real unadulterated DMT, and you're not here, like you actually go somewhere else. So your story tells me either you didn't take enough hits, or you smoked it the wrong way, or it was watered down.
Yeah. And it's crazy too, like with LSD or anything else like that. I don't trip like everybody else. I think it's my genetics. I don't know. I don't really get those
Well,
visuals.
sure, because even with shrooms and LSD, you're still there. You're still here, rather. You're still here. You're just experiencing things different ways. DMT is sort of like the next category where, like, if you really here's another mistake that a lot of people do is they just sprinkle it on top of a bowl of weed.
Yeah.
Smoke it like that.
Yeah, I heard you're supposed to actually smoke it in a glass pipe, but that's the only way I've had it, is on top of a bowl.
Yeah, you have to vaporize it somehow. So whether it's using a, for lack of a better terms, meth pipe, or if you have if you can get it in a vaporized cartridge form, which are both, but I mean, it just depends on readily available for
consumption.
Not much. But yeah, I like. Let's put it this way. Like, just imagine you just like met a kid somewhere that's like 16 years old, and somewhere along the lines of the conversation, he tells you that he's never had a Christmas morning before. Do you know how, like, just think about how bad you would feel.
Right.
Oh, really? You've never experienced this? Like, that's sad, That's how I feel about people who have never, like, really blasted off with some DMT. Like, I'm like, oh, wow. Especially with old people, like my grandparents when they were still. I remember just thinking, like, man, they're probably too old, but man, I feel bad. They've never experienced that. Like, damn, that sucks. You went through this whole, you were on this earth for 80 years. You didn't get to experience that? Wow, that sucks. In one case, 89, 89 years. Still didn't experience that. And,
Truthfully believe though, everyone has their own life path and like if they were meant to experience that and then if something calls you, you do it, right? Some people are called to music, some people are called to sports, some people are called to paranormal, some people are called to religion. I think that if they were supposed, like, if you go to numerology, for instance, like numerology, that's just a very vague description of multiple numbers that make up who we are, and we can change them. That's the crazy part. We can change personality number by changing the spelling of our names, which I did, and it changed completely. Part of the reason why I use an E in my first name instead of an I, because I used to spell it with an I. Been going by Mea since I was like 6. But I had a friend named Leah. She spelled it Lea, and I thought it was cute. Besides that, I was very shy with, believe it or not, with I spelling. And I looked up the name numerology later in life after I changed it, right? It wasn't a conscious change, it was just something I figured out. And ever since I put the E in there instead of I, it more represents my internal personality. Not like, it's very strange. So what I'm saying is, like, if they were meant to, if they were drawn to it and drawn to those experiences, they would have probably been born where it would be easy to or seek out those experiences.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, one of my favorite quotes in life is, once you're lost, twilight's blue. Don't find your way, way finds you. And I think it's the exact same thing with proper psychedelics. Because, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's really what it is. And another thing that backs that is, you know, me and a good bunch of friends of mine went on a retreat for 2 weeks, and we did nothing but that 2 weeks. And so we all came back from that like, oh my God, like everybody needs to try this. And we got a couple of our friends who, let's say, were not mentally stable going into it. And they came out of it pretty roughed up. And I actually regret, like, I don't regret is the right word. I feel kind of bad that I was one of the people that, you know, dragged them into something that they weren't ready for. And
Let's say if you're afraid of death, if death terrifies you, don't do psychedelics.
wow,
Not that you're gonna. But if you're afraid of death and you think that when you die there is nothing else, and that finality scares you,
yes,
it's not right.
wow, that is, I can't believe I've never heard anybody before put it into those exact words. But you are so right. If you're afraid of death, don't do psychedelics. But in my,
I think I was chanting where that came from.
yeah, no, that came
Okay.
from somewhere, from somebody that knows something. Because that is so true. In my case, I actually, you know, I just grew up with stuff, and so I kind of actually came over the fear of death during one of those experiences. But like, just about everybody I know that I've either, you know, experienced it with, know that they have experienced the same quality and same, you know, atomical, like, legit, you know, stuff. I've A lot of them tried to. They weren't as eloquent in words as you were, but they were trying to say the same thing. That like shit, like I'm not afraid of dying anymore. Like wow, you know,
Mhm.
and that's
Well, yeah. I mean, it's if you are. I should also rephrase that too, because I think when you're young and stuff, and at certain points of your life, like death can be a little scary. But if you like terrified of death because you feel in your heart, in your deepest feeling, is that you just go into the ground and become fertilizer, and that's all that there is. If you truly believe that and you're not open to anything else, then psychedelics are not for you. And so, with a lot of the older generations, they come from a time where there's so much toxic religious propaganda and fear mongering. Or it was like one of two ways. Like my grandparents, it was like they were. My grandma was from the Catholic Church. My grandfather comes from like a small religious, one of those little branch off Christianity, small extremist kind of groups. His parents, his family, right? And so they both ended up kind of turning their heads against religion. Like my grandpa, who is still alive, my only living grandparent, I think he's one of those people that truthfully doesn't really believe in anything or an afterlife or a religion. And I'm not saying he does. He might not, but there are people, a lot of people out there who think that way, especially the older generation. They were either like, yeah, I'm gonna just put my faith into this religion, and that is who I am, or none of it exists. We are just gonna die and be. It was like black and white. I mean, ironically, so was television and movies. Everything was in black and white. Maybe their perspective also, because that was their conditioning. Not in every country. I mean, a lot in the U.S. and it could be worse in some countries, obviously. Roman Catholics and so on.
and go Tessa.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I got to actually go to church at a Catholic church once when I was in combat training. Like any church you wanted to check out, you could. And yeah, I don't know. I just didn't get it. You know, the foreign language and such. But I don't know. Not for me. Tried different religions,
There's been
but
several different types of churches, and for sure, hands down, by a million light years, the Catholic services most boring as fuck. Like anybody could fall asleep in that shit. But then you go to like a what's it called? Um, Baptist. Go to a Baptist church, they have a fucking rock band and they're serving food.
My favorite. Love it.
Pine Car Derby.
Yeah, you know, and but honestly, I feel like all the different forms of Christianity, but also Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, you name it, they're all trying to describe the same.
Story.
Oh, a lot of the stories are unusually like down to the lease of the dove at the end of the flood. Every single religion has that. It's like, okay, they're obviously talking about the same shit. And then the more you read into all of them, I've spent a lot of time. I've read multiple versions of the Bible. I've read the Bhagavad Gita with all the, especially paid a lot of attention to the Purana section of those ancient India texts, and it's much of.
I like the Satanic Bible.
Honestly, you know what? the Satanic Bible.
It says, you know what? If your neighbor screws your wife, you go right over. You screw your neighbor's wife. That's what it says.
Makes sense.
Here's what it says. It says if somebody, I think what you're getting at is the part, because just a little preface here. The Satanic Bible is actually like, it sounds better than most religions if you actually look at it.
No, I
Like,
did.
Actually,
It really does.
I know you.
The Earth Bible. They don't even talk about worshiping any sort of. That's the crazy part. They don't talk about worshiping. They say that you are above. Are you basically your own God? You're in control. You are here on Earth, and you have the full right to do what you want and be a human. I think of it more as the Earth Bible than the Satanic Bible, because it doesn't talk about worshiping devil. It doesn't talk about crazy satanic rituals. Just like, it's basically like, I personally live by that because I believe in karma. But for people who don't really believe in a higher power, it's not. Like, it's like a little bit tame than most religions when it comes to like groups and stuff. It's logical. It's very logical.
It surprisingly is. Like, I also I've got a whole stack of Aleister Crowley books. And they are some of the best quotes I've ever read in my life. The one I'm thinking of is from Book 4. It's the preface to Book 4. Anybody's into Crowley and they know what I'm talking about. But whether it's that or the Satanic Bible, they are surprised. They have been misrepresented very much in mainstream media. I'm talking even going back to like the 20s when films first started. You could first go to a movie theater. Ever since then, they've always, Crowley especially. He was basically the first, paparazzi victim. Nobody ever followed somebody around like that before. Till Aleister Crowley, which, by the way, was a double agent for England and Germany at the same time. And we didn't find that out until 40 or 50 years ago. But yeah, it's, if I hope people don't take all this talk the wrong way, because if anybody knows me, like Tess does, I'm just a fun, happy, like down to be here kind of dude. Like, couldn't be more excited. But at the same time, I want to know what people think. And if you only look into the people that you by default believe in without knowing what the hell they have to say to begin with, you're missing out. You need to hear everybody's opinion about something in order to come to a complete conclusion. Like, even if you know that one of the critics is full of shit, you still want to hear what that critic has to say. You still want to know, because the more different,
Yeah,
definitely, the more perspectives you get on one topic, the more clear it becomes what's happening and what's not. Period.
Oh, definitely. Like, bought the dumbest book that I think is hilariously stupid, and I actually paid for it with my money to laugh at it, and that is Flower. It's hilarious.
Was that one dude that was like stalking our Facebook page for Four Corners?
No,
Because he wrote a book too, which
it's a different book. It's a cool book. Okay, so we had a troll on the Paranormal page that Tess pointed out to me on the page. And so, as it turns out, this guy who was just saying really messed up comments about everything that Tess posted. Turns out he was in the paranormal community. We thought he was just a troll, and then I looked at him, and he's in the Not only that, he had books available. So I bought one of his books. And it was like the dumbest, most basic, like paranormal book anyone could write. Now, I don't want to be a gatekeeper and say there's a hierarchy to that type of thing, but it was just a book of duh, like obviously, like everything that he said about ghosts is like common knowledge. Like, tell me something interesting. Anyway, I'll read something out of the 48 Laws of Power. It just makes me cringe that there are people that actually abide by these, like, and live by some of these. Let's see. Quotes. Let's see. Okay, law number 2: never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use your enemies. Let's see. Always say less than necessary.
Okay.
Why? Like,
Well,
very stupid.
but those are both very situational things.
Yeah.
Both of those could be great advice, but they could both be terrible advice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen to this one. It's just teaching you how to be a narcissist. So, your greatest power in seduction is your ability to turn away. Oh, his name's Robert Greene. The ability to turn away, to make others come after you, delaying their satisfaction. It's all about like all those manipulative books that women read about how to get men and that type of stuff. Like, that's not what the book is, but he has one like it's like the Laws of Seduction or something. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. So what? But why would you want people around you that can't accept all parts of you? Maybe in certain types of business, but I don't. It's some of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, just to clarify, are we going for another 20 minutes, or are we going for another?
I believe it's another basically 20 minutes left in the show. We have more time than that on the Spreaker if you guys wanted to go longer, but it's whatever. Whatever you guys want to do, I'm down.
I was just curious about the schedule.
Yeah, I was supposed to be on for 3 hours tonight.
Yeah, I forget. You're
So law number 20. Okay, do not commit to anyone. It is the fool who always rushes to take sides. Do not commit to any side but yourself. Which that's okay. That's not bad. I understand that. But it says, maintaining your independence, you become the master of others, playing people against one another, making them pursue you.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Like let's be the drama queen in high school that talks crap about all of her girlfriends and to each other, and so they making them hate each other. I knew a girl like that. Like it's the dumbest things.
Yeah, I think we all have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Waste of energy.
But that is, I mean, let's face it, that is an actual strategy that does work sometimes. So, and you have to admit. So, somebody.
But what does it work for? That girl, no, it doesn't work because that particular girl was notorious. Okay, so like we in school, and she had her girlfriends, and she hung out with them individually, but she strategically made all of them hate each other, and it got nowhere. It got nowhere. Nobody was kissing her butt, and now I'm sure she's not doing well now. I mean, last I heard, she was miserable and unhappy, but she would say to the one girl, like behind the other girl's back, oh, she's so fat, oh, she's so poor, oh, she hates you, blah, blah, blah. Turn them against each other, and she gained nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I don't know what it's good for, is what I'm saying. You do it. Absolutely. Anyone can do it, but what is it going to get you?
Drama.
Except for eventually they realize that she's just doing that or being stupid or just talking crap about everyone.
You know, that's well, it depends on your long-term goals. You know, do you only plan to be here for 25 or 30 years? If so, that might work. But if you plan on living old and having a farm and doing the hell kind of thing, yeah, that's not going to help you at all. It just depends on. Because I mean, um, let's face it, not everybody's meant to live very long. You know, and some people recognize that early on. I think that's
The other thing is, in that book, they say things and then contradict them. Like they'll say at all costs make sure that you're the center of the room by doing this and this and this. Never be like, never outshine the master. Always make that type of stuff. Like that's like completely contradictory.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty contradictory.
Yeah.
And you know,
Be royal in your fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. But don't outshine the master. I mean,
Thought I was the master.
but also into a room and be quiet and say less. But never be afraid to like be bold and talk like it makes no sense. Like none like it's the dumbest thing. I think the whole book is just
yeah, the only way it would make sense is if both sides are true, and it's just a matter of which side believes more in what's happening. If that makes any sense, that's the only way that fact makes sense.
this one. Okay, so number 14. As a friend, work as a spy.
Yeah, that sounds like a couple of ex-girlfriends.
No, what's the end goal? As a friend, work as a spy. So let's just pretend to be everybody's friends because they're all our enemies, and then never have any actual like real friendships in your life.
Steepy.
Well, I think that it sounds like to me a terrible analogy for another quote, which is keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like another version of that quote, which that depends. Like,
I mean, in that situation,
Kentucky Fried Chicken probably doesn't really apply to you. But if you work for the CIA, it might actually be some good advice.
yeah.
just to be
Stir up waters to catch fish. And then it says keep your hands clean. Like, okay, so what is it? Stir up the waters or keep your hands clean? Okay, so stir up the waters and keep your hands clean. For what? Like, this is just, what is this teaching you? Like, it doesn't teach you, like, it's
While you walk quietly and carry a big stick.
Who is this book written for?
What book are we talking about?
The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. Yeah, definitely. It sounds like he just couldn't figure out which side worked. I mean, you can do either side of either one of those situations and pull off what you want to pull off. But the bottom line is, you're a dick if you want to do any of those things. So,
I guess this is talking about being like, I think this book was actually written for successful people to become successful, but
monetarily successful, say successful.
yeah, it depends on your definition of success, I guess.
Yeah. Because my definition doesn't quite involve money so much. But not to sound like a hippie again, but I there's more important things.
It's not the end all be all. The only thing I see that's good about money is it buying you freedom. Like money in itself will not make you happy.
No.
Yeah, you can. That's only.
It's like that saying, you have to pay to play. Okay, so like you have to pay to play. Like if you want to do something, you work hard for it, save for it. You're buying.
People that have created play, they didn't have shit. They just created a good product. By product, I mean like shows, like YouTube shows. I know several YouTube guys that have been doing YouTube for a living for 10 years, which the thought at the beginning, like if you were to saw what they were doing at the beginning, it would have been just like me. It would have been like, what the fuck are you wasting your time for? Like, who's going to watch this? Next thing you know, they got 2 million subscribers.
Mm-hmm. I heard this really good, interesting perspective and or quote recently, and it said the people that have the most fulfilling lives are able to get paid to play. Right? They play music, they play sports, they could play video games, design apps, gamble, whatever it is that they do. I don't think that's like 100% true, but it's there's a point there.
It's about 80% true, I would say.
Yeah. Because there's not many job descriptions that are involve the word play. There's only like a couple. So there could be a better description of it. It's just basically saying like the people that have the most fulfilling lives are able to do stuff, get paid for it. Ultimately.
Okay, so let's look at it this way. Mia, who did I say your name? Okay.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite musician in the world?
It's tough, but I would say one that I look up to highly would have been Prince.
Oh wow, great answer. Great answer.
For a multitude of reasons. As a person, he's hilarious. He was a total diva and totally cocky and arrogant, but at the same time, so what? Like, just because you admire, that's something crazy. And you learn that later on. These people that you admire for their talents are not always the best people. I'm not saying he wasn't, but there's a lot of them.
Doctor, that's another quote of mine. Never meet your hero, because you're going to be disappointed.
Absolutely.
Almost everything. With that said, with your example with friends, you know, he's just playing, or he was just playing around, and he was on top of the world. You know what I mean? So like, there is some sort of truth to that. Like, there are some people that just figured out to make their play work with success, which is pretty rare. Most people don't ever figure out how to do that.
He had, though, was like this immeasurable, besides talent, I heard this thing is he had this immeasurable amount of drive. Like, I found out there is so many recording sessions and songs that he did that are in a vault that may never forever be released. Like thousands upon thousands upon thousands. He would make an album, shut himself in the studio, and the reason why he hired girls in the band, and there was a reason, I can't remember what it was, is like they're more agreeable. I think it was. I think it's because they were more agreeable. There was something. It wasn't agreeable, but he would shut himself in the studio and have an album done within 2 days. Just songs upon songs upon, like that is a kind of drive. It's a drive, right? So screw talent. It's like about drive. Like there's a lot of musical artists out there that don't have, especially singers. I won't name names, but a lot of singers that don't have the most appealing voices, but they have the best drive or stage presence.
Dude, there are so many great bands out there that are fantastic, except their singer sucks. That's a very common situation.
There's so many different angles, like with music, though, as to what it makes it good. Okay, like
Plus, it's
some
all,
some musicians, or bands, they just build this brand. They build this brand. They build this gimmick, and their music. It could be whatever it is. It could be really good. It could suck, but they built an entire brand. So that's another way. That's another approach. There's so many different like angles with that. Another one I love is Danny Elfman. He's like my living, I will call him like idol. I love Danny Elfman.
oh, I don't think I know who that is. Can you tell us?
He was in this band in the 80s called Oingo Boingo, which was amazing. And then he did the soundtrack for all of the Tim Burton movies. He did the soundtrack for Jurassic Park, Nightmare Before Christmas. The list goes on. Black Beauty, which is a really cool soundtrack. He composed all of these movie scores, and he still does to this day. And I noticed, like, in my adult years, like, all these really, really good movies, and they all had him do the music. And I realized, oh my gosh, that's what makes these movies all so good from, like, the early 90s and 80s. He did the Batman Forever, Batman 1989, all those soundtracks. He's just, and he has no formal musical classical training, but he composed all of these soundtracks before people did it all in a DAW. Like he wrote the piano part, everything by ear. He wasn't even like trained. It's just I don't know. He's just awesome. Him and Mike Patton. He's the other one. He's awesome. They all are similar. Prince, Mike Patton, and Danny Elfman are all like similar kind of musical connoisseur geniuses.
I think,
All a little weird.
some of the best musical geniuses. The reason why they became musical geniuses is because they never took proper lessons. They didn't learn how to play the instrument like someone else has already done before. They figured out their own style. They did it on their own terms. And that's what great musicians.
Mike Patton did a soundtrack with kids' Tonka toys, like preschooler Tonka toys.
Nice.
Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sorry, I forgot. Didn't you mention earlier you played you play something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm mostly doing like producing and writing right now, but back when I used to do like rock stuff, I was like a bass player and a synth player. But that's not, people aren't in bands anymore, so I'm having to learn how to be an audio engineer now, which is not fun because I mean not literally, but having to do the like it was so much easier like working with others that can do that stuff. It's just time consuming and tedious, but I do like producing and music.
And plus, listen, as a producer, you get clients that, I mean, let's just face it, their music sucks. I listened to it for 1,000 times in a row.
Yeah, totally. No, I just produce my own music. I'm my own producer. I'm not like I don't like produce.
Okay, I thought you meant you.
No, I just produce my own music.
Well, good. Don't ever.
I just do everything basically.
Yeah.
Which is like a lot. I love the creative side, but the technical side just exhausts me. And
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people think music is you just pick up a guitar and play and you make $1 million. Nope. Nope. There is a lot of work that goes into it, and most of the work goes uncredited. And I mean, they might mention the producer in the 12 out of 13 pages of
Writer.
CD.
These artists, they don't write their own music, and people don't understand that. They're like, person, this insert big pop star here, is so talented. And that song is so deep and emotional, and I bet it's about her breakup. It's like, did you even look at the song credits? There are 13 people who wrote the lyrics to that song, and you're gonna tell me that song is about her ex-boyfriend? Some dude in Germany freaking emailed those lyrics to her producer and made her sit in a studio and sing them. That's how it works. And I just,
Yes, absolutely. That's how it
the
works.
rawness has been taken out of music, and it's exhausting. Mike Patton predicted, there was an interview with Mike Patton in the early 90s. It's the Sandwich interview. It's hilarious. If you ever look that up, it's the best. Mike Patton in the 90s, he was from Faith No More. And he's in a bunch of other bands. He was in Mr. Bungle. What's the other one that he's still in now? I don't know. I can't think of it. But he said they call it the Sandwich interview on YouTube with Mike Patton. He said, I don't even want to know why we do it anymore, because in 10 years, computers are just going to take over music. He predicted.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of several things. That's one of them. Is because so along with what you just said, Mia, is like that's why I love desert rock, because desert rock, there's no industry there. It's just pure, and there's only 4 writers, and the 4 writers are the bass guitar, drummer, and the singer. They don't have a team of 17 people writing songs for them. Like, it's just pure, it's natural. And I think that's why desert rock. I can never imagine a day where desert rock gets infiltrated by that corporate songwriter situation that you were talking about. And that's why people Stone Age are so fought that shit all the way through, still do their own shit. They've never given it. So I'm really it's really cool to know that there's other people that I've never met before, like you, Mia, that understand the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Tess can pick him.
Yeah,
She's not.
I'm a good picker.
Yeah,
No, she's awesome. I'm so glad that, she messaged me and we met. Yep. My bestest friend.
Cool. Like a lot of the most genuine people, they're not influencers. They're not, and especially like musicians. They're I feel like a lot of musicians are kind of um not. You can only find them like through music and things like this and stuff. Like, people that are on this are wavelength, right? Like, I feel like the world is having this awakening, but people that are in that process that understand things together, because there are a lot of things that you can't talk about with the muggles, likes to call them, right?
Yeah.
Like Tess, like, you can't always talk about just everybody and like in depth, because there's usually a point where you need to just quit talking. about that stuff, like just to the normal people. Like I always hit that point where I'll say something, and they're like, I don't know. This one time this happened, and then I'm like, oh yeah, this one time, like I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like half asleep and half awake, and I saw these four tall gray aliens staring at me, and they had these really huge eyes, and then you see their face, and you're like, oh crap, I shouldn't have said anything.
Right?
Well, I would highly encourage you to keep coming back on Tessa's show because this is the space. No muggles. No muggles.
Muggle free zone. Yes, that's what you need in your background. Like a sign that says Muggle free zone.
Right? I have to find a spot for it. Right up here or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Word. What is the password?
I know. Jet lagged. I didn't even go anywhere that I know of. I don't know. I'm not ready for winter. I'm not ready for the cold.
Me either.
I'm in Texas, so I'm ready. Because the winter is like. The winter in Texas is kind of like a spring in Colorado. You know, like this. It's actually not even that bad. It's actually perfect. But it only lasts for like 2 minutes. Then it goes right back to being hot.
Yeah, that one year with the ice storm was crazy over there.
Dude, I couldn't even get into my car for 3 days earlier this year. Because the door was frozen shut. Couldn't open it. And I even brought out one of those barbecue lighters.
Yeah.
You know? Flaming the ice off, trying to melt it. Nothing. That shit was frozen on the inside, too. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be a crazy winter this year. Mice are moving in early. I don't know. It's just super cold already. I'm not ready.
Now, according to Doc Ram, says the weather's going to get more, I guess in his words, more odd and out of place than out of time. That certainly drives the last couple of years.
Blame Harp, honestly. I think they're messing with us.
For sure. Yeah, what they're doing.
Not for 100% of it, but some of it.
Yeah, they're not helping. Let's put it that way. But they're doing helping anything. In fact, probably making what's happening already a little more.
And then like a pendulum.
Yeah.
You mess with something somewhere, and then it's gonna mess with something else. Climate change, who knows? I think we just live in strange times.
For sure.
Wake up. I'm already over it, and nothing to say about this life. I'm over this dimension. Like I just want to go to where my home planet is, and just like, I don't know. I'm bored with this planet. I'm bored with so many things are happening, and I don't know if I want to be like so many changes, and we are living in a very, I believe right now we are living in a very pivotal time for humanity. Every time is a pivotal time for humanity, but this in particular time, and it's already like the global pandemic. Global, mind you. This is not a pandemic in one area. It was everywhere in the world except for Antarctica. Free. And the fact that we live through this global, like there's been epidemics and small like virus pandemics, and now there's another one, and now I heard something about people getting tested for monkeypox to go somewhere now. I don't know if it's Super Bowl or something really weird like that. And I'm like, oh, great. Not, no, I'm not ready. This is,
Yeah,
and then we got China and Russia, and China is supposed to be within the next 2 weeks going after, supposedly, until saying going after Taiwan, taking over Taiwan,
Yeah.
supposedly.
yeah.
And then we are supposed to help out China. And if we do, China and Russia are going to come after us. And if that's what's going to happen, just like, I'll just get on a boat, like, just go away, sail off into the ocean, starve to death. I don't want to deal with this. I don't like to think the worst. I really don't. But I've felt some crazy big things coming for like years, and now I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
But how much of it is fear mongering? I don't know how much of it is in the air or set in stone. I think that like time and outcomes change day by day. It's just like, what's next? Like a meteor, a war. What are we doing here? Boy, I'm too tired for all of it. Like, it's over it. It's late. Like, I would have been so ready like 2 years ago, but then the pandemic just like drained us all. Now it's just like, yeah.
I mean,
We can just pray, I guess. Pray or send positive energy, however you want to.
Yeah, well, that's always, good to do, and I'm sure. I mean, I do that all the time, and everything here does, and I'm sure everybody in the chat room does as well. But you know what? If you go back to any time in history, they had potential fears just like we do today. The only difference is being alive today is way better than being alive any other time. Because
It's very true.
If you crack your elbow, well, guess what? You're dead. They didn't have surgery. They didn't have painkillers. They didn't know how to snap your bone back in place. Like, we are in this is the best time to be alive. And there,
Do you think about that all the time? Yeah. Every little thing. You watch those they call them the period time shows or movies from like back in the day. And it's like, man, smallpox, syphilis, being a woman in almost any time period sucked. Being black or of color or a woman or especially both. I mean, can you imagine like just it's just crazy. Like women's options were very limited in almost every part of the world for a very long time until about 100 years ago. And it still sucked. Women didn't get the right to vote in the United States until like something crazy. When was it? I don't know, like the 70s or the 80s?
Yeah.
long ago.
Not that long ago. It's insane. So, I mean, in that regard, it's very fortunate because, like, I look at these, like, old movies, books, things. If you are a woman, you had two options. Have babies, in which you have a 50-50 chance of dying in childbirth, most of the time, and get married, and that's it. Or become a prostitute. That's it.
But
you become a prostitute.
It's better to be a woman now than it was 100 years ago, than 100 years ago. Better to be a woman than 100 years before that. Like, I just hear a lot of people complaining about like how terrible life is. Like, yeah, there's always going to be terrible shit going on. God knows what Kim Jong-un is doing over there. Every once in a while, he sends a rocket over some country, freaks everybody out, right?
Rocket Man.
Right? But for the most part, when it comes to Western civilization, this is the best time for everybody. For everybody.
It is. People do lose touch with that in reality because people just spreading all of the negativity.
And pull up the internet on your phone. You can like, when did George Washington get his wisdom tooth pulled out? You can actually look that shit up on Google. Like, there's never a time like this. Like, this is fucking insane.
Yeah.
And
I will say,
yes,
getting
nothing is
the
perfect.
thing of the
Nothing is
past
perfect.
almost.
And
I
there's still
remember the days where you like we didn't have maps. Like we how did I get anywhere back then? I have no idea. But driving around like and not having like maps, Google Maps or whatever maps service that you use, taking us to the place. You don't even have to do anything. You don't even have to look at the map. She talks to you. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I actually used to deliver pizza before GPS was a thing.
Yeah, me too.
And
I had a map on a clipboard.
On the wall. Exactly. Yeah. And you just had to remember where you were going. And if you got lost, you had to go back and shame your head. Be like, hey, I forgot. There was no GPS. But now we do have GPS.
Most people didn't have cell phones either to call the people to tell them that we were lost.
Right.
At the very least, say, okay, like, but did I go too far? No. That's crazy.
Well, there is a couple of families that had cell phones back in the 70s and 80s. Same ones that have the ability to push the print button.
Nice.
The Federal Reserve.
Where do you get one of those? I have one.
And get blood transfusions weekly from orphans that nobody will miss. That type of stuff.
Yeah, scared little orphans.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, people really do not realize the power that these sorts of families have. I mean, there's only about 10 or 15 of them, but between those 10 or 15 families, everything is owned by them. Everything. And even those 10 or 15 families, half of them are basically the same family. So it really comes down to like 6 or 7.
I think it's 90% of the wealth is owned by 1%, but it's less than 1% of those families. And you don't see them. They don't even have the names like they used to. The Rockefellers, they don't even have those names anymore. Most of them.
Had to switch it up.
They're not in media. They control the media. Same with record labels. Like, there's only 2 or 3 record labels, and that stuff is disgusting. You know, they pull out. They make artists pull out life insurances to the record label. So if they pass away, the record label collects the royalties. I mean, the crazy stuff that they do. That's an example, just like the family.
Yeah, but that's what they did. I mean, they still do that. Guess what? There are bands that built their own local following and took it to the next state, built it up from there, went to the next state, built it up from there. They literally DIY'd it, and they're making way more money than these Rockefeller cocksucker bands. That turning. And which adds all the more to my point. I think this is actually a pretty, I guess the way I would put it, this is a very interesting time in human history. And I've heard a couple of people like, not Greg Braden, but what's your guy's name? Bruce Lipton. Talking about like, well, so we have, apparently this is a fact according to mainstream media. I'm not sure if I believe it. It might be true. I don't know. Fact is, the quote fact is that there are more people alive on this planet right now than have ever lived altogether since recorded history.
I believe that.
That could be the case.
But people are also evolving to reproduce less. the younger generation, like the ones, how old are you, but like the ones test that are like the generation after me. See, I'm part of the millennials, obviously, but there's a decline in, and it might be the food. You can blame it on anything you want, but it also might be just like a natural evolutionary process as well.
Yeah.
Like it could be a nat because we're living longer, and science is going to advance. Who knows? There could be some huge breakthrough. We could live to be 200 years old for all we know. Like, not likely, but they're getting closer.
Yeah. No, somebody's already figured that out. Not you or me.
Of course.
It's somebody. Somebody did.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever. I'll tell you what.
Elon. They're gonna repopulate. I hope they all move to Mars. They can all just move to Mars. We can have the planet, live in peace, barter and trade.
On Mars. They're trying to make us think that Elon Musk is starting to figure out how to maybe get there. When they're already there, just clicking away their dollar bills in their hands, eating sushi and whatever the fuck it is they do on Mars. And they're chilling. They're good. And they know that we're... And they don't give a shit. Because, like, again, to go back to this point, like, nobody really considers the fact that, okay, the whole world is based on money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there is a person, one individual, that is allowed to push the print money button on the money.
Yep.
Whoever that person is, he is literally controlling the world. And everybody talks Democrats, Republicans, this, that. Like, no. This is way bigger than that.
Been saying
people actually print money that they don't have to play by those rules that all of us have to, because they're the ones creating the money. Nobody.
They try to stop the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve was created by a group of giant, very, very ungodly, generationally, disgustingly wealthy people.
Including George W.'s great grandpa.
And people wanted them stopped before it happened. Like, that's a bad idea. You are literally giving them the control of everyone. And they're thinking, yeah, this is great. And that was just like, I'm sorry, but they should have been assassinated or stopped or imprisoned or something. Like, it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, but those families are always going to have the upper hand. I mean, I hope I'm wrong when I say that, but I mean, the last 300 years, they've been running the whole fucking show, and it doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. I mean,
you
have is the internet having conversations.
But people are waking up.
Without
us being compliant, though, without people being 100% compliant, and now people are starting to wake up about the whole thing, about the way the whole structure works. There's so many people that are waking up to that. They cannot survive without us either.
Exactly.
That way.
That's why you're seeing all these people getting censored from YouTube and even PayPal. We actually had to stop taking PayPal donations because we disagree with what PayPal's doing. Even PayPal has decided if they don't like what you're saying, then guess what? Not only are they going to take your donations, they're going to fine you and take you to court. Because they simply don't like what you're saying. Yeah, so fuck PayPal and don't rely on that. And if anybody here, just buymeacoffee.com. Great website, great cause, get a little cut. Good deal. But yeah, it's interesting though how, I mean, some of these families have actual literal, uh, not well, yes, literal, but I meant historically, like actual literature going all the way back to about 3,000 years ago. Actual written lineage of these families that go all the way up to right now that are still, we're talking about Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, like that. Like they've actually,
All the one, the Chinese family that I can't remember the name. There's different ones.
yeah, well, there's different ones for every major empire, right? And but not to mention interbreeding, but but also to mention like, damn, if like, I hope we can figure out a way to actually make this a real fucking, like a legitimate place where everybody votes and agrees on shit and we all work together. I hope that happens. But guess what? Not happening, because this whole shit has been run by the same fucking people by the last several thousand years. And they're not going to give it up to a fucking skateboarder drinking some rum and coke, eating a fucking kolache on a radio show. That's just not going to happen.
Dang it.
Wish it could. It's not.
Nope.
It's not.
Nat Ganny. Yep, it's a puppet show. Puppets. They're all puppets.
Well, I would like to turn everybody on to a very interesting show that I've come across recently. It's not like they don't compete with us or anything. It's on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel show. It's called The Why List, as in the space WHY space list. The Why List. And first of all, I like the way everything's produced, just on a technical level, but also like, damn, this dude is educated on all the shit that we talk about on shows like Tessa's and mine and Jeff's, Dave's, everybody else. Like, this dude knows it all, and the way I like it is he presents it how you want to hear it, and then at the end he's like, yeah, but here's what falls through the cracks. But every once in a while, one of his episodes is like, this is normally where I pull it apart, but honestly, there's nothing to pull it apart. I showed you everything, and nobody knows any better. That's it. Like, he's so honest. That's what I'm trying to say. He's so honest, and he covers some. In fact, if you follow us on Twitter, he just posted one of those videos today. An absolute fantastic presentation about the pyramids and how they might have been built. It let's put it this way. I've been going to like several conferences every year since 2015. And Jimmy Church has been a big part of, hooking me up to be able to do all of this. And so shout out to him. And like, I've heard bits of information here, bits of information there. And at the end of the day, I just watched this guy's video today. I was like, wow, he just summed up what took me 7 years to learn in about 7 minutes. It was insane. It was like, wow, whoever this guy is knows what's up. So I would highly recommend, maybe we can get him on e-talk or something at some point in some way or fashion. But yeah, the Y files, WHY, Y. Highly recommend.
Okay, so it's files, not list.
Yeah, no, it's definitely files.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Logan,
YouTube?
it's only on YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Like, because yesterday I had food poisoning, and I was on the couch all day. I swear to God, all I did for about like 7 hours, just watch the Y-Files. Just episode after episode after episode. I was like, wow, like, I've been in this business for, well, 6 years with Shift Happens, but 7 years, Beyond Strange. And then even before I got into the business, I was already a rabid listener for several years before that. So we're talking like 10 years. And this dude is putting together like what I consider 10 years of information into one 10 to 20 to 30-minute video. One. And yeah, what either you or me, Tessa or Jeff or somebody needs to get this guy on one of our shows because this dude nails it. He nails it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm definitely gonna check him out.
Me too. Homework class.
Here's your homework for the week. So what are you guys doing for Halloween?
I'm just going to a big skateboard party. It's not really hollow. I mean, people would be dressed up or whatever. I'm just gonna skate. I don't
Nice.
know. What are you gonna do?
Probably gonna dress up and take the kids trick-or-treating. They have school that day too. But yeah, that'll be fun.
I'm gonna do a little shindig. Should be fun
Nice.
with the group that I met at Burning Man that are really cool.
Hell yeah.
And went to Grace. They did a Burning Man. So, own some warehouses and buildings in Phoenix, and they're really cool. So I went there and he gave us the grand tour of two of those buildings, which were really cool. They had a bunch of cars in them, a bunch of little recording rooms, acoustic recording studio rooms. There was like a little club with a dance floor, all that jazz. And so next weekend, so the warehouse wasn't open, it was closed. So when we went there, we got the tour, but there was nothing going on. It just was really cool, like all these really cool lights and art cars and just it was like this world. So they are opening the warehouse next weekend for their Halloween party on Friday and Saturday, and so I thought that I might make an appearance on Friday night, check it out for a little while, and then Saturday later in the evening throw like a little small after party for all the small group that I met at Burning Man. Just like an after party. Enjoy this house before we have to Airbnb it. And yeah, that's it. And I haven't done anything for Halloween in years, and it's my favorite holiday, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
It's going to be obviously on Halloween, but the weekend.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about here. I'm like, are they doing it on the weekend or are they doing trick-or-treating on Monday? But on the Nextdoor app, that's what I'm seeing. They're doing it on Monday, so no, the kids are really excited. That used to be the day every year that it would snow, the first day that it would snow. But it's been wonky the last couple years.
Yeah. Then the day of freezing. It's kind of on schedule. Even though, like, it's weird because Colorado, it can be way temperature cooler in Colorado. Like, it's weird. Like, 70 degrees and hot and is warm. 70 degrees in Arizona is cold. Like, it's the weirdest thing. That desert cold. It's supposed to be hot, but especially out here where I live, it's 10, 15 degrees cooler than Phoenix since it's the middle of the desert. So it's kind of chilly at night.
Yeah, most people think of the desert as this too hot to be there situation, but what they don't realize is at night it actually pretty fucking cold.
Oh yeah,
Like a different type of cold,
a desert dry
Piercing cold.
cold. Mm-hmm.
Well, I would rather that desert cold than here. I'll tell you that. Right now, I guarantee you, it's like 85 or 89 degrees, like at night in Texas. That's what we just imagine the daytime.
Yeah, I remember being down in Phoenix where at night it was like still, in the high 90s or over 100 even sometimes. It's like, just cool down. Come on.
Yeah, that could happen. So.
Living in front of the Mr. Fan.
No. Oh, is that what they're called? Are those the portable little fan sprayers?
No, my mom and sister actually have this large fan that blows like a fan, but it blows out mist as well. Pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm trying portable one.
Oh, yeah. I haven't used one of those.
Oh, those are a godsend. Yeah. If you ever have to go to a conference in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the summer, which I never understood why they didn't pick any other time of the year to do that, but they did. And man, I had my mystery fan the whole time, or my mini one rather. Just.
Yeah, I got one of those neck cooler thingies that is like just a portable AC sort of thing. It didn't do shit in Phoenix. It didn't touch it.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, we are in the last 5 minutes of the show. Did you want to put in your show here, or any place that you guys would like for people to come and visit you or drop you a line or whatnot?
Go ahead, Mia.
I don't know. Did we lose her? Oh.
Down good. I was walking based on TMI, but microwaving and heating. Plus, for that, you can find me on Instagram, antidote, and then the word for FOR Savages. Also, that's my music platform. I have on multiple all platforms. That's my sorry. Very tired here. Antidote for Savages. Just Google it. You'll see everything pop up. How about that?
And then Gigi?
There you go. Yeah, sounds good. And honestly, just to say some words, just shifthappensradio.com. I host a show called Shift Happens, the Fringe FM, and all of our social media links, all of our email, everything you want. It's right there at shifthappensradio.com. And you can make fun of me on all those platforms all you want, and we'll talk to you back, and we'll have a good time doing it.
Hell yeah. Poke fun at the rabbits.
Because it's in good fun, though.
Yeah.
As long as it's good fun. Also, being this the last show of the Haunted Marathon here on eTalk Radio, I would personally like to thank everybody involved here. Jeff Rennell, Mr. Blue, aka DJ Blue, Dave Cruz, even co-host from Shift Happens, JP. He does his own show on here. He had his own show last night. That was fantastic. And I know I'm leaving out several people, but it's been such a cool weekend, and just thank everybody that participated, including you, Tessa, and Mia, and every guest on every show, and not to lie, we had some hiccups over the weekend, but we figured it out and we put it together. Thanks for everybody for sticking around and having patience. And this has just been awesome. And what a great way to end the haunted end. Cheers to all of you, and hope you have something delicious to eat afterwards inside.
Very nice. Well, it was awesome having you guys on, and just the variety of, things that we discussed. It's never a dull time hanging out with friends. But thank you guys so much again for being here with me on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. And thank you, like Gigi said, to everyone on eTalk TV, aka eTalk Radio. A lot of work went into it, and still got a few hiccups for me to work out, but we'll get it. We'll get it going. Also, our listeners on KPNL Radio, Facebook, Twitter, iHeartRadio, and wherever else you may be listening beyond the Omniverse this evening, I had an awesome time. This next coming weekend, we have Bill Hauser doing his Ghost Box Live, and we also have the Forum. So I'm super excited for that. We haven't had Bill Hauser on for a very long time. So the day before Halloween sounds like a really awesome time to have him on, and he's going to be parked out in front of a school instead of at his house. So make sure you tune into that and enter in your words that you hear from that. It's going to be a very, very epic show. But thank you so much once again for listening to us on We Are Paradox Media, because without you guys, there is no us. You guys take care of my yous. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And we'll see you back here, same crazy time, same crazy place. Night, guys.